We've got new over-the-wall shots of the Pirates of the Caribbean exterior queue. Buzz Lightyear has shown up at Space Mountain. Did he bring any other news? We've got updated aerial views of Cotino and concept art for the homes, plus updates from Pyms Test Kitchen, Downtown Disney, and Finding Nemo, all coming up next on Fresh Baked. Hi guys, David here with Fresh Baked to talk about what's going on around the Disneyland Resort, and today we'll be starting in New Orleans Square and Pirates of the Caribbean. Pirates will be open on July 1st, so we're getting close, but it's been a bit since we've seen any over-the-wall shots of the exterior queue. These shots, courtesy of my wife. She recently had the good fortune to get a tour of 21 Royal, which is where these shots were taken, so that's pretty cool, right? And with that, we got perhaps our best look so far at one of the new trees that's been planted in that exterior queue. Now, for those new to this story, the two trees that were here before were sick and they had to be removed. Two new trees have been installed and they fit right in here. We can see that they're fully installed with new concrete poured around all over the exterior queue, in fact. Last time we were here, it was mostly dirt. As for the concrete, I mean, it is kind of bland. I'm hoping, though, that there's more layers to come, which does seem likely, as this is clearly unfinished. But let's actually go ahead and see what I'm talking about when I say it's bland. This is how the surface looked before the update. I just want to say, I think sometimes we take this kind of thing for granted, not giving it the love it deserves. It's why I try to go out of my way as often as I can to show the details, because they mean so much to our experience. It's what sets Disneyland apart from the rest. It's in the details. They've got to finish. You've got to finish the job, finish the experience. Anyway, sorry to get on a rant here, because I've got no reason to expect that they won't do a great job on the surface here. I blame myself for being impatient. I looked at that, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that doesn't look anything like what we used to have. I'm going to hang in there. I'm going to hang in there. But actually, let's take a bit of a longer view next, where we can see that the queue itself appears to be just about as it was before. Looks like maybe they replaced the concrete right here, because it doesn't look like it has yet anyway, have the stamped and patterned finish like the rest, so they probably had to redo that. It'll catch up and blend in with the rest of the concrete, I'm sure. We can actually, now here, we can see, here's the old tiles at the top of the queue just before we enter the attraction interior. So that's a good sign that we should see the same down below, as it's, you know, less likely Disney would want for there to be any sort of lack of continuity. Looking at these trees again from this longer view, shade is going to be hard to come by for a few years at least, while we wait for those trees to mature. So come to Disneyland, go to Pirates, bring a hat. Before we leave New Orleans Square, let's hop over to Blue Bayou, where the walls are down. The restaurant is open, still walk-ups only, but now there's one less reason to skip Blue Bayou, as the walls are down and guests on the rail can once again see boats go by along the Pirates Bayou. Now, no sign of boats on this visit, but I do know they're being tested, hoping to visit the Blue Bayou myself just as soon as Pirates reopens. Let's go to Tomorrowland next, where Buzz Lightyear has appeared and he's ready to meet some guests. Not this Buzz Lightyear, though. This Buzz Lightyear. And I have to say that I was not expecting there to be a Buzz Lightyear face character in my lifetime. But it does make sense. You know, he is here to promote the Lightyear film. The Lightyear film is the actual Buzz Lightyear. That guy, that's the toy version inspired by this guy. It matters. What little of it I caught, I thought was pretty cute, actually. The suit looks great, in my opinion. They did a great job of the suit. The set, the meeting set, is actually a little better than average, I guess, compared to some of the other sets that they built for these pop-up meet and greets. So I hope he sticks around for a while, but I feel like that's probably unlikely. As for where to find him, the meet is at the top of the ramp leading up to the Space Mountain entrance. And by the way, for those wondering about those stickers we saw on social media that had people scratching their heads, that's what they were there for. Indicators for the standby queue, nothing more. But we may be talking about that Buzz Lightyear rumor in another video soon. Hoping to have some time for that, but suffice it to say, it's kind of terrifying, but it's more possible than you might think. And by the way, I'll also say I don't think that the Lightyear box office, or lack of it, is going to hurt those chances even a little bit. Don't pay no attention to that. All right, I've scared you enough. Let's take a break from Disneyland and go to Cotino. Cotino is the new luxury Disney-themed neighborhood, planned community being built in Rancho Mirage. Luxury homes, a man-made beach, shopping, etc. It's in the early stages of development, and our friends at Desert Bird Media got this amazing drone footage of the early construction. It's really fun being able to watch the very genesis of such a big project. And this first clip truly does give us a great look at the absolute scale of the site. It's enormous. Everything you see here will wind up being Cotino homes, the beach, the shopping, probably a hotel. Oh my gosh, it's so much. Here's a parade of trucks making the ground ready for development. And you can see that there are some areas getting a lot of attention while others aren't getting any attention at all. This is typical of many planned developments where they're built in phases. I'd expect 2, maybe 3 phases total, each with its own completion date. Hard to believe that they've covered all of this ground already with that truck caravan. The green section in the corner is, I assume, covered in hydro mulch. That's a mix of water and seed that it's kind of sticky, helps limit erosion while also helping vegetation grow, which I feel like would be essential in places like this where they're starting from scratch. Let's get closer. The drone flies in low and we can see the finished areas are showing some definition. The beginnings of the site layout, perhaps? As I mentioned, we've also got some concept art for the homes that they're going to be designing, the single-family homes, that is. We've got 4 different designs to look at. This first one, I'm already in love with this first house. If I were to buy a home in the desert, this is exactly the kind of design that I'd be looking for. It's that mid-century modern architecture with the slanted roof lines, the big picture windows. That looks great to me. The concrete wall in front with that, I forget what they call this type of wall, but that pattern texture, mixed in. And it's one of the reasons why if I were ever to buy a home out there, I would look only for homes like this. I wouldn't want anything modern if I could help it. And this, if only if this home at Cotino existed on a golf course, they might have a customer in me. Not that they're necessarily waiting for David Erickson's business at Cotino. I'm just saying they are this close to getting my business. But I love the design of this particular home. This next one is probably a more affordable, I guess if that's the right word, a more affordable version of the previous. It's mid-century modern, that same concrete wall dividing, but you can tell that it's significantly less square footage than the other one. But this is definitely a more standard ranch-style layout, I'm sure. But again, a very pleasing look. And I'm curious, actually, what this is right here. If that's some kind of entry, because normally you would park in the garage here and then you would enter the home to the front through that little opening right there. What is this? Is this possibly for guests? I don't know. I kind of like it, but that's an interesting design element there. I would love to see some interiors, by the way, but I guess that's or a floor plan. I should say at this point though is that there are supposed to be custom designed homes that are interiors as well, Disney themed. You have an option of getting a Disney themed home, kind of like how they do at Golden Oaks in Florida at Walt Disney World. And this obviously Cotino is sort of a companion to that model, although Golden Oaks exists on or in Walt Disney World property. These do not. But I think that's what they're going for in this sense. But there are going to be some custom homes available for a price, of course. Here's a third option. This one looks a little bit more modern. You don't see the mid-century modern architecture here. No slanted roof lines. A very blocky, which is okay. The entranceways are a little bit more modern. This looks like almost more like a country club style residence than a regular single family, which again, I prefer the regular single family design rather than a cookie cutter country club design. But this is, it's pleasing. A lot of people would like this, I'm sure. And then finally, this one here, this one I think is probably the more This is more top of the line, I'm sure, in terms of aesthetics. You can see that there's more care put into the visual appeal, the curb appeal on this property. Again, assuming you're not interested in the mid-century modern, because that has more curb appeal for me personally. But this is definitely a modern, contemporary, upscale design for a Rancho Mirage or desert property. And you can see they're making use again of the wood awning there at the entrance, and that the stone facade is actually kind of interesting. I'd rather like that. I like that stone facade at the front of the house there. That looks neat. And sort of a layered appearance, much like the one we saw before, the one previous to this. There's a layered texture to the design. I don't know why I'm really enjoying this for some reason, talking about it like this. But so there you go. These are the first 4 models that they have for Cotino in phase 1. I'm assuming they're going to be phases again. First 4 models, and we're going to stay tuned for some floor plans and possible custom interiors. Hopefully they give us some concept art on that. So there you go, guys. Thanks again to our friends at Desert Bird Media. We'll keep checking in here at Cotino for as long as we're able to with their help. Otherwise, let's go back to Disneyland, or rather Avengers Campus, to see a small little update at Pyms Test Kitchen. They've put in built-in switchbacks. Now, my first thought was that I didn't like it much, and I was hoping that they would put in tables, like they had in the concept art. Only I looked at the concept art later and found that this is pretty much just like they had it. But in this case, they've got 2 CMs in the concept art. We've got just the 1 CM, which is not unnoticed by me because it makes those standby lines drag. As always, I do hope Disney will consider adding a second standby lane in more dining locations. But until then, I still highly advise using mobile order. Even if you're a late adopter, do it. It'll save you a bunch of time. I mean, I'm with you. I want to be on my phone as little as possible. But, I mean, you save a lot of time with mobile order. With that, we'll wrap up with our usual ride on the monorail. Downtown Disney. New week. Same dirt. Same hole. Finding Nemo. New week. Same water. Still no seagulls. Still no ride. Though we have had lots of reports of subs being tested. But the park calendar, though, still shows no date of reopening as far into the future as August 2nd, as of this recording. Which is interesting, because, I mean, that's 45 days from now. But we'll keep waiting. But that joke that we made about the change on the sign from winter 2022 to just winter, and we said, oh, maybe they mean winter at the end of the year, in November. That's looking more possible, isn't it? Thanks for watching, everybody. As always, follow us on Instagram at _FreshBaked, on Twitter at FreshBakedDisney, that's fresh with no E, and on TikTok at FreshBakedDisney. And if you like our show and want to show your support, please do consider joining our Patreon campaign at patreon.com/freshbaked. Otherwise, thanks again for watching, everybody. We love you. Be safe out there. Be kind to one another. And fresh baked.